Ibrahim, acting as the president of this year's Youth Science Forum. I would like to welcome you to our 5th lecture, which will be presented by Hamimatul Hayat from L61. I hope this will benefit you to its fullest. Without further ado, I would like to welcome our presenter to take the floor.
Okay, so Assalamualaikum and good afternoon everyone. Before I start my presentation, I would like to introduce myself again. My name is Hamimatul Hayat, binti Dr. Abdul Nasir from L61. I'm a member of YSF, which is the chief editor. And I took physics, chem and maths as my A-level subjects. And so today, I challenged myself to present something regarding social sciences, which is OCD. So first of all, I want to ask whether any one of you here has the idea what OCD is all about. Raise your hands. Do you mind sharing what you know about OCD? The girl at the back. Just a few words, maybe 1 or 2 words to describe OCD is fine. It's nothing to embarrass of. Boys, anyone know what OCD is all about? Disorder. Okay, we'll see about that. So, these are the contents I'll be talking about today. What is actually OCD? OCD stands for Obsessive Compulsive Disorder. It is an anxiety disorder with endless cycles of repetitive thoughts and also behaviors. It consists of like distressing thoughts, fears, or images they cannot control. And this is known as the obsessions, and which leads to an urgent need to perform certain rituals or routine. This is known as compulsions. So actually, most people misunderstood the concept OCD with OCPD. What is OCPD? OCPD stands for Obsessive Compulsive Personality Disorder. They thought that people with OCD are the people who are actually perfectionists that care for even minute details. But actually, those people are OCPD, not OCD. So basically, this is the OCD cycle, which starts with obsessive thoughts, followed by anxiety, compulsive behavior, and then temporary relief. And the cycle does not end there. It will go on and on. Every day, the exact situation will happen to you if you're having an OCD. And just because you think that you have obsessions or you perform compulsive behaviors, it does not mean that you have OCD. Most people with OCD usually have both obsessions and compulsions, but sometimes there are people who only have either one of them. So examples of common obsessions are like need for constant reassurance, need for order, symmetry, and exactness, fear of dirt or germs, and fear of behaving in a socially unacceptable manner. Whereas the compulsions are like repeatedly taking shower or washing hands, constantly arranging things, eating food in specific orders, and the need to perform tasks in certain number of times. So people with OCD usually develop both emotional symptoms and physical symptoms, where the emotional symptoms include depression, excessive worry and excessive tension, as well as they will feel that nothing is ever right. Isn't that obvious for people who have OCD? And then for an example, we take a person with germ obsession, where they will wash their hands so much that their skin becomes red, raw, and painful. And this is what it looks like. Yeah, maybe we think that it's unreasonable that they wash their hands until this red and painful, but for them it's cannot be controlled, and yeah. So now moving on to the possible causes of OCD. Although that the exact cause of OCD is not fully understood, studies have shown that both combination of biological factors and environmental factors involved in the OCD problem. In biological aspects, serotonin seems to be heavily involved in OCD. It is a neurotransmitter which allows the nerve cells to communicate with each other. And according to research, the serotonin involved with biological processes such as mood, aggression, sleep, appetite, and pain. And it also involved in creating responses. And another study states that OCD might be from genetics, in which some research points that OCD sufferers will have a family member with OCD symptoms. And one of the American studies shows that up to 30% of teenagers with OCD have a family member with OCD symptoms. And OCD also linked with infection caused by Streptococcus bacteria, in which it infects the blood and the brain. So in short, the Streptococcus bacteria inflames the basal ganglia, in which the basal ganglia controls various functions, such as fine motor movements, like handwriting, drawing, coloring, and thinking, emotions, and learning routine behaviors or habits. Whereas the environmental factors are like abuse, illness, death of loved ones, changes in living situation, as well as relationship concern. Well, OCD can never be prevented. Nevertheless, OCD can be treated. One of those treatments is cognitive behavioral therapy, in which therapists teach people with OCD to confront their fears and reduce their anxiety without performing rituals. It's just like a normal therapy session where there's just therapists and the people with OCD. Other than that, the treatment can also be in the form of medication, in which here they use antidepressants such as Luvox, Prozac, and Zoloft. And in some worst cases of OCD, advanced treatment is used. One of those treatments include ECT, which stands for electroconvulsive therapy, where a small current is passed through electrodes placed on the skull. And this causes a brief seizure. This is the machine used for the ECT, and it looks like this is how they set up the machine. Next one is DBS, which stands for Deep Brain Stimulation, where they implant small electrodes into the brain areas that are part of the brain circuitry associated with OCD symptoms. This is the device used for the DBS, in which this is the electrodes which is implanted into the brain, and as well as the device, it is implanted somewhere in the body. And I believe that this remote is used by the doctor to control their anxiety levels and stuff. So it looks like the atmosphere is getting dry. So I will show you a short 3 minutes video, and you'll experience how OCD feels like. So are you ready? Yes. Listen to what this person said and you try to put yourself in their shoes. Sorry. I need help. Sorry.
5, 6, how long did I sleep for? I got to bed at 3. Let's see, 3 o'clock. I didn't do anything stupid yesterday. 6, 7. How many hours did I sleep? How long did I sleep for? 3 a.m. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm feeling lightheaded. My heart is beating. I'm feeling lightheaded. I don't feel like my heart is beating. I don't know if I feel alright. I think I feel alright. I'm okay. Yeah, I feel alright. No, I feel fine. I don't know if I should take my meds. I should take my meds. Should I take my meds today? Medicine's working. It's gonna work. I should stay on the medicine. How do I know if the medicine's working? I don't know. Should I take meds today? How many hours did I sleep last night? I didn't get enough sleep. 2, 3. My pulse is just slow. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's fast. It's that fast. Too slow. 7. Can your pulse be too slow? 10, 11, 12, 13. My appetite really isn't there. I hope it's okay. I don't really have an appetite. Appetite's not great right now. Why? I'm sick. You're fine. Maybe I'm too hungry. I shouldn't be this hungry. Oh God, I'm too hungry. It could be my thyroid. That's why I'm sick. It could be my heart. My heart is my thyroid. You know what? I'm gonna write. I'm gonna go write. I'm looking forward to writing today. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I'm looking forward to writing. To write today. To write today. It's flowing. Writing very well. I like this story. I'm gonna write a lot. I'm gonna write so much today. I'm loving this. Great. My stomach's hurting. My stomach's really hurting right now. I hope it's not Ebola. I was on a plane recently. I hope it's not Ebola. I need to look up the symptoms right now. It could be Ebola. Look up the symptoms. Don't look up the symptoms. I need to look up the symptoms right now. What's going on? I can't tell temperature. First of all, right. I can't tell if I'm hot or not. My fever. If it's over 100, that's not good. If it's over 100, I'm going to the emergency room. Okay. What's my pulse? Check my blood pressure right now. I think I'm fine. I think I'm sick. My pressure's high. My blood pressure feels high. My blood pressure feels really high. I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out. I'm gonna just have a smoke. Cigarettes are good for your intestines, actually. Why am I smoking? I hope I don't get cancer. I get my heart attack. My heart is racing right now. My heart is racing. My heart is racing. Okay. It's a heart attack. Deep enough breath. I feel like I'm gonna pass out. I need to sit down. I need to go over here and sit down. I can't breathe. Smoking increases your heart. Wait, I gotta just sit down. Smoking kills you. Smoking is killing me. Okay. Relax. You got meditate. Remember meditation. Remember the breath. Focus on the breath. It's just anxiety. Nothing ever happens. It's just anxiety. You'll be fine. Nothing ever happens. It's just anxiety. Remember the breath. You're okay. See, you're fine. See, you're okay. I hope I got enough sleep last night.
So what do you feel after watching the video? Do you feel dizzy or headaches? And what do you think about the person with OCD? How are they going to handle the exact same situation every day? Yes, I know it's stressful. So sometimes I wonder, actually I thought that OCD is something which is a minor issue, but then after watching and doing some research on this OCD, I think that it's actually a major problem, but it's not really that exposed here in Brunei. So with that, I end my presentation today. Thank you. Anyone have questions?
You mentioned two factors. One is genetics, and the other one is environmental.
Yes.
Which one is the more important cause?
From my research, actually the most important one is the biological factors, because it's involved in it involved the brain and its genetics, and it cannot be prevented. Like for example, the environmental, actually these things somehow can be prevented. So actually the biggest factor is this one.
So that is basically genetics.
Yes.
And that means that the child who has OCD, he has no control whatsoever.
Yeah, because the OCD itself, they cannot control what they think, like the anxiety, the fears, their the images, their fears, that are something that they cannot control. Unlike OCPD, the personal disorder, they actually know how to control those things. It's just that they think that they are right. Yeah.
Do we have any idea about the proportion of people who have OCD in Brunei?
In Brunei, well, I don't think so. I don't think that it's that much here in Brunei, but according to my research, there are about 3.3 million of adults and about 1 million of children in US have OCD. Yeah, so I think that actually OCD is it's a big issue, but not in our continent. Yeah. Any other questions?
How severe do the symptoms have to be considered?
Well, actually, there's no like a lab test to diagnose OCD, but the doctor will check based on their diagnosis on an assessment of the patient's symptoms. So yeah. Yeah, it depends on the case. Yes?
How will the electric current cure OCD?
The one with... This one? Which one? ECT or
ECT.
ECT. So since it causes a brief seizure, it will give pain to the OCD patient, so they will try to stop doing their compulsions. Anything else? No questions? Okay, if no question, then that's the end of my
Prevent me from